I'm on a mission to give shame a rebrand. Now, when you think about shame, most people think this is something that's obviously super uncomfortable, something that you want to avoid, something that you have great resistance to. It probably even brings up like a physical sensation in the body, maybe in the stomach or in the chest. It's a word that has a very visceral reaction for most people, and most people are actively trying to avoid it. I'm here to convince you that actually doing the inverse, doing the opposite of that, is actually going to be so beneficial for you. Now, why is this? We've all been told, we've all been led to believe that what we are pursuing and what we are aiming for is the state of happiness and becoming happy. But in some ways, that is a trap. The state of being happy is actually a fleeting moment, a fleeting experience. So let's say, for example, if someone gifts you something, and in that moment it's like, oh, what a nice surprise, a gift. And the happiness that you experience takes you from your default level into a peak of happiness momentarily, and then it immediately drops back down, back to the default level that you then continue at. So while we are in this pursuit of happiness and pursuing external material things, whether it be through material possessions or a home or a car or a person in our life, we're actually fighting a losing battle, because when we attain that thing that we seek, we will inevitably return back to the exact state where we started. So we're continually doing this loop, this cycle of trying to fill this hole, trying to fill this void, finding a thing that we had aimed towards, which momentarily gives us a feeling of heightened happiness, only to then find that we return back to the status quo, back to the default. So, how does this connect to shame? What I'm proposing is that rather than seeking happiness, which is fleeting and temporary, and traps you in a loop, traps you in a cycle, what we're all really aiming for is the experience of joy. Joy is the lifting of that default level. So the bar is raised, and it is something that stays with us regardless of the external circumstances. It doesn't matter if we're having a good day or a bad day, that joy becomes our new default. It's something that is causeless. There's no reason for it. And that means no matter what we experience as we move through life, that state of expansion, that state of connection, that state of love is ours and ours to claim. And it's not fragile, it's not temporary. So, with the understanding then that the chase for happiness is actually really a seeking of joy, the question then becomes, well, how do we attain joy? How do we increase our default levels of joy? So this is where it loops all the way back to where I started with shame, and why I'm on a mission to give shame a rebrand. So in our energy fields, we're all holding a shame burden, a shame load, which is all the pain of the past, all the trauma from experiences that we've had before, where we felt shame, we felt unworthy, we felt like in some way the essence of who we are is inherently faulty or broken or bad or wrong. And it's really this shame load, this shame burden that we are all carrying, that is standing between where we're at now and achieving the states of causeless joy that we truly seek and we truly deserve. That joy is our natural state. That is the natural state of all beings. So we have to understand, okay, so what are the barriers? What are the blocks between me and my natural state that I need to remove in order to return back to my default setting? It's a process of returning ourselves back to our factory settings. And so what you realize is that the shame that you hold, the shame that you feel, the shame that you've been programmed with from your past is actually the greatest gift possible. Because as soon as you can tap into that energy in your field and you can learn how to transmute it, you can learn how to heal it, then what lies on the other side of that is ecstasy, is bliss. Bliss and ecstasy and joy to levels that you've never ever experienced before. How would it feel if I told you your current capacity for joy was at only 5%? Probably you'd feel some sadness, some pain. And eventually then processing that, you'd feel determined, you'd feel motivated to say, wow, if my joy level at the moment is only 5%, what would it feel like to be at 100%? What would it feel like to even be at 50% or 10%? That would be double the level that I'm at now. And so by shifting our perspective to realize there is so much more that we are capable of, there is so much more joy that we are able to anchor into our bodies, into our physical experience, into this shared reality. And it is yours and it is yours to claim. So the process that we would need to go through, if we have identified the shame that we're holding, what I have come to learn, and in my experience, is as you can tap into these pockets of shame in your energy field that have been floating there with you, like a weight, some baggage that you've been carrying that you didn't know you were carrying. It had become so habitual that it was there that it just became the default. It became your status quo. As we can tap into this pain and release it, transmute it, heal it, what we realize is there's actually a false belief in there. There is somewhere in the shame a lie that we had been allowing ourselves to believe in. And so what this has revealed to me is how I had actually been living my life and had been an ally to my own shame. I had been living in a way that was perpetuating the shame and acknowledging it as a part of who I am because I believed in some inherent fault that I was born with or I was created with. If this lie is telling you I'm worthless or I'm not good enough and therefore I need to do X, Y, and Z to improve myself, to find people that will like me, to modify my behavior or my character so that I'm more palatable or attractive to people. Once you can tap into this shame belief, throw the dog's ball, sorry. Once you can tap into this shame belief and see it as being untrue, see it for the lie that it has always been, this shame then converts and it alchemizes. And like magic, it converts into grief. And this energy in your field actually transmutes. It morphs into something new. It mutates from shame into grief. And then there's a grieving process that is almost like if one side of the river that you had been on was shame, and you know that your joy lies on the other side of the river. The crossing of the bridge, the crossing of the river to get to the joy is the path of grieving. And as you release this grief, as you can honor your process and bring love to a place in yourself where there previously was not love, you were denying yourself love. The grief is what opens you up to be able to anchor in new energies from the divine, new levels of joy, new levels of true essence of who you really are, who you've always been, and embodying yourself as the divine, embodying more of your Christ consciousness. So grieving becomes the process of transformation. Grieving becomes the process of morphing into the future version of you, into the version of you that is calling in your dream reality, aligning to timelines, circumstances, people, opportunities that will lead you to fulfilling your soul purpose, fulfilling your dreams, and being able to share all the gifts that you were created specifically to bring to share with the world. So my gift to you with this message is, let's give shame a rebrand. It's something that we have such resistance to. We're programmed to be resistant to it. Yet, within shame lies the greatest opportunities. Within shame lies the answer to our prayers, the answer to our questions, our soul searching, and our ability to co-create a reality that we truly desire, that we truly thrive in together. The path to achieving that is by facing our shame, grieving it out of our energy field, and anchoring in new levels of joy. Joy beyond anything you've ever dreamed.